Hi, good afternoon. This is Elizabeth Griffin, your independent author from South Philadelphia, and welcome back to my channel. So right now I am standing in front of the African American Museum in Philadelphia. And the reason I'm here is because I want to talk about creating pilots and medical stories or medical dramas of the past. And I wanted to pose a question to you. If you were able to create a pilot, what type of story would you create, and why would it be significant for you to tell this particular story? So for me, I'm standing in front of, as I said, the African American Museum in Philadelphia because I visited this museum about 10 years ago, and I noticed that they had a black medical section talking about the black universities and the black medical schools of the past, of Howard University and of McCary University. So I wanted to just highlight that, and also to mention that for me, if I were to tell a story, obviously it would be in the medical field because I'm fascinated with that. But when I was in college, I took a public speaking class, and my professor had introduced me to a book called Arc of Justice. And in that book, there was a physician named Ozian Sweet. And he was a physician back in the 1920s. And he was a physician who bought a house in a predominantly white neighborhood, all white neighborhood. And he and his family went on trial for murder because the people of that area didn't want him to move in. And so they attacked his family, and he in turn protected himself, self-defense, him and 9 other members and his wife. So as a result of that, a white man died and another was injured, and he went on trial for murder, and he ultimately was acquitted, but he lost so much in the process. And if you get the book Arc of Justice, it'll go into detail. It'll tell you about his amazing career and the fact that he did go to Howard University to study medical medicine, and that he was a physician in Detroit, and he convinced a pharmacy owner to let him set up office in the back of the pharmacy for black people because there was a section in Detroit called the Black Bottom, and he noticed that a lot of black people there were not getting medical attention. So his career is interesting. His legacy is definitely interesting. But what is sad is obviously the outcome. He lost his wife, who was locked up in jail, and she was pregnant, and she died, I believe, of tuberculosis. And he lost so much, and he ended up, I believe, committing suicide in the 1960s. And his story is tragic, but he left so much information, and his struggle is something that's worth reading. Also, the reason that I'm standing here is because in reading about him, I was wondering, what was it like to be a black person that wanted to practice medicine in that time when a lot of the medical schools were not open to you? And definitely for women, it was a much harder struggle. And if you were an African American woman, you can just imagine. So if I were to write a pilot, I would want to set it in that time frame, because in reading his story, they mentioned that he and several other physicians opened a black hospital. And they were like the CEOs, and they had a surgery unit and so many other things. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be interesting to tell a story in that time period and show the physicians and the nurses and the people that were trying to make a difference and trying to help their community and the community at large in such a time. So that's my take, and that's what I want to say today about studying medicine and creating a pilot that is significant and that will stand the test of time. If I can also mention, I was also inspired by watching The Knick, which was, I believe, on Showtime, and it's a medical drama that was set in maybe the 1920s, somewhere in that era. And they talked about the fact that there was a character that came from France. He studied in France, and he came to the U.S. to try to practice medicine, and he had a very difficult time. So that's my take on creating pilots. Definitely follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I hope you appreciate this video. And as always, love, peace, joy, happiness. Bye-bye.